What's good YouTube, NeoNexudus here with a deck profile. Today I'm showing you my Fire Kings, which you've already seen some duels against Scapegoat user on my channel. This is my sort of first draft. I've been messing around with a few ideas. I'm not entirely happy with it yet, but it's a work in progress. Any ideas and thoughts on the deck and how to improve it are much appreciated. So, going with the deck profile. We've got a double big bird, Garunix, 3 Yaksha, triple Barong, 1 baby Garunix, which is also, its real name is Fire Avatar, hang on, Fire King Avatar Garunix, there we go. Not to be confused with Fire King High Avatar Garunix. I'll explain that in a bit. 1 Wolf Buck, because all of our Beast Warriors are fire. 1 to Bear, 1 to Gorilla. Bear and Gorilla, I've actually been liking Gorilla. Gorilla is quite nice, especially games 2 when they're summoning things like D-Fisher and Soul Drain against you. You just go, summon Gorilla, effect, pop a Tenki or a Tensu, and pop their Soul Drain or D-Fisher or whatever. Obviously it doesn't work against macro, but you know. Then we got our one-offs, some more one-offs rather. Fire Dog, Magician, Blaster, Sacred Phoenix. I like Fire Dog, or I like the idea of Fire Dog, because obviously he's able to, once he destroys a monster by battle, he can bring out any monster from the deck, any fire monster from the deck that has 200 defense. So you can bring out Magician, you can bring out Barong, you can bring out Yaksha. You know, it's there for that reason. I like it for that idea. And the reason why Magician's in there is because, you know, Fire Dog's in there. I wouldn't run Magician if I wasn't running Fire Dog. It's just for that option to unsynchros. Blaster because it's a fire-based deck, and Secret Phoenix because if it's destroyed by a card effect, as your Fire Kings do, this comes back during your standby phase, not the next, but your standby phase, and destroys all spells and traps on the field. So if you can get a loop with Garunix and Sacred Phoenix going, you've got a Heavy Storm and Dark Hole pretty much every turn. So that's the monsters. Onto the spells. We've got triple Onslaught of the Fire Kings, because we run a very low monster count. I think it's like 15 monsters. No, just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 monsters, sorry. We run 16 monsters. It's a sort of lowish monster count. So your Onslaught allows you to, especially on one fire Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast from your deck to the field, but it'll be destroyed in the end phase. But that doesn't really matter when it's the likes of Yaksha and you got a Garunix in hand. But your opponent has to control a monster. So the opponent controls a monster, you play this, you get out Sacred Phoenix, it will die in the end phase, and it will come back during your turn as a Heavy Storm, or you play it with Garunix and it becomes a Dark Hole in the standby phase, or you play Yaksha, or you bring out Yaksha, so that when it dies in the end phase, you destroy a card in hand like a Barong, or a Sacred Phoenix, or a Garunix, sometimes even Blaster, you know, just to get him in the grave. Yeah, it's good, I like it. Then we got Double Circle of the Fire Kings. I probably want to take this up to 3. It can be a little bit tricky, because you obviously have to have a fire monster in the graveyard, and if you're not find that many monsters, it can sometimes be hard when you open with this in hand and have no fire monsters in the grave. You go summon Yaksha, they go bottomless. You're like, well, because you can use this card when they activate their reactive cards like Mirror Force and things like that to destroy your fire monster on the field, and then summon one from the graveyard, which works really nice with things like Barong, well, all your Vikings really, and even Sacred Phoenix, because it'll just trigger their effects, and then you get a new fire monster to the field. So then we've got triple Tenki. Search out our Yakshas, our Barongs, bears, gorillas, all that jazz. Double Tensu, because I like Tensu in this deck. You kind of sometimes need that extra normal summon, because if your monster gets stopped from hitting the field, and because you run such a low monster count, most of the time you won't be able to do much else that turn. So if you play Tensu, you can get another normal summon, so you can get another Fire King on the field, or any other Beast Warrior, and just do shenanigans. Also, it's nice, to have first turns. You can go 2 Beast Warriors, overlay Tiger King. Tiger King search for a fire formation, get a Tenki, play a Tenki, get search for a Fire King. So double MST, because I am running Sacred Phoenix, so yeah. Double Lance to help keep my monsters on board. Nice for down step tricks with Bear and Gorilla. And it's just there for you summon, they go bottomless, or TT, you play Lance. So Dark Hole, because it's good in this deck. Rekindling, a nice DT rekindling. I don't know if you can see that, but that's courtesy of Scapegoat User. And then for my 41st card, because I pulled it in a pack the other day, Soul Charge. Soul Charge, I'm undecided about it in this deck. I mean, yes, I realise Soul Charge is a good card, don't get me wrong. But sometimes when you draw it mid to late game, it can win you the game or it can lose you the game, depending on your hand, depending on what's in your graveyard. It can be situational, but it can also be good. So I just sort of try it out. I've only pulled 1 copy so far. So, I thought I'd stick it in Vikings, where I know they need to get shit out the graveyard, because they obviously use Rekindling, and this is just a generic Rekindling. So I thought, hey, why the fuck not? Moving on. We've got the traps. Double Mirror Force. As you can see, one of these is extremely banged up. That is courtesy of Dark Tradition 84. But these are the only other super hollow Mirror Forces I own, and I didn't really want to play common Mirror Forces. Compulse, Bottomless, TT, Double Phoenix Chain, or you can play Breakthrough Skill, but I don't have spare Breakthrough Skill, so I'm playing Phoenix Chain and Solemn Warning. Moving on to the extra deck. The traps probably need to be increased a bit, because I find myself in a lot of situations where I just have like a fire formation spell and maybe a monster on board, but that's about it. But play double Tiger King, gold rares, because they're cheap. You make this with any of your Beast Warriors, and it lets you search out your Tenki or your Tensu, and it's just good. 1 number 82 Heartland Drago. I'm playing this card because it's like a 2000 Cowboy. It's a generic rank 4, and you can detach a material to attack your opponent directly, but other monsters you control cannot attack that turn. But the reason why I'm playing it in this deck and not in my other decks is because I run face-up continuous spell cards, and it says when this card cannot be attacked whilst you control a face-up continuous spell card, or something like that. It says while you control a face-up spell card, this card cannot be targeted for attacks. So, it being on 2000, being rather weak for a rank 4, it sort of makes up for it with the fact that it can't be targeted for attacks. So, they have to destroy it by a card effect. Then we've got Black Ship, Double Diamond Direwolf, because everything in this deck is Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast. So this helps us get our effects off. Loveful Chain, because he works with Circle of the Fire Kings, and it helps dump things like Blaster and Garunix in the grave. These combo plays. Dagusto Emerald for recycling purposes. We don't run that many monsters, so when you start getting lower monsters, make a Dagusto Emerald, shuffle them all back into the deck so that Tenkis and stuff are still live. They've got 1 Dweller to negate graveyard effects, Cowboy, Honor Arc, Crazy Box for my side deck choices, and then for Synchros, because I run Flame Veil Magician, Crimson Blader works for Circle of the Fire Kings, Scrap Dragon because he's good, and Thought Reader because he's good. To be honest with you, I've never to date made my Synchros. I've always preferred to play the more conservative play. I mean, yes, Vikings are aggressive, but sometimes you have to be conservative with your resources, because although certain effects can trigger, if you don't have the appropriate things to search or to special summon and things like that, you don't want to go balls deep. So yeah. Moving on to the side, we got double offensive Fire Ferret. This card works amazingly well with Fire King Yaksha. I cannot stress how funny it is when they run over Yaksha by battle. Yaksha says, when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy one card in your hand or that you control. You destroy this card in hand, and when this card's effect triggers, but it says, when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy one of your opponent's monsters and they take 500. So you got one of these guys in your hand, and you got Yaksha on the field. They destroy Yaksha, you destroy this guy in hand, you destroy the monster that attacked you, and they take 500, which is really funny because they don't see it coming. They think they're going to be dealing with a Garunix or something like that, but actually they're just going to lose balls of presence. And it's pretty nice just by itself, you know, first turn set, or to just keep on poking people with, because you don't really want to run over it unless they got a follow-up play, because obviously it destroys their monster. So double skill drain, because you know I can run it in this deck. Skill drain wrecks a lot of decks in the format. Yes, it interferes with Garunix and Bear and Gorilla and things like that, but they're still beat sticks. And to be honest, skill drain negating the opponent's monster effects and me just having massive beat sticks on the field is probably a bit better than you know, my opponent having monster effects to banish my shit and bollocks like that. Plus I play Lance, so you know I can sort of make certain monsters unaffected by spells and traps, so I can trigger off things like Garunix, because Garunix, when it comes back, it's an effect upon summon, so I can go chain to the summon, Lance, effect to Garunix, nuke the field, because skill drain doesn't negate skill drain negates effects on the field, but effects can still be activated, but they don't obviously resolve because they're negated. So double Iron Wall, it only contradicts with Blaster really, plus it's a nice safe way to go with Rekindling. You get one of these on the field, you play Rekindling, your monsters aren't getting banished, they're permanently on the field. Although it interferes with Blaster, it helps me out because it stops things like Macro D-Fisher and other crap like that. Double Light Mirror, you know, light-based decks, I don't like them. One Shadow Mirror, because it's the only Shadow Mirror I've got spare. It was almost kind of hurt this deck, so, you know, but I got Skill Drain and Shadow Mirror, so. Needle Sealing, this is quite good. I haven't actually been able to use it yet, but in theory it's pretty good, because obviously your monsters wouldn't be destroyed by card effects. So all there has to be is 4 monsters on the field, and then you can flip this, and then all face-up monsters on the field are destroyed. So it's like our second TT. I believe I explained the Therio in this in my Battling Boxer deck profile, back in the days that, you know, it was doing okay. But, you know, I like the theory behind Needle Sealing. Double Overworked for Fire Fists, Boojins, and things like that. Yes, it can destroy my monsters, but remember, we don't mind that. And then to finish off the side deck, third MST, double Gyoku. These are really just sort of face spillers, to be honest, the Gyokus anyway. So I wanted to run Gyoku in the main, because it's quite a nice lockdown card, but I'm unsure how to go about it. And now we got Soul Drain. I probably just want to make room for Soul Drain more than Soul Charge. My apologies. Probably just want to make room for more Soul Charges. Like, I'll probably run 2 Soul Charge, 1 Rekindling when I get my second. So, you know, well, that's the deck. It's not anything particularly brilliant, I know. but it's like my first draft, if you like. Been messing around with it a little bit, and it's fun to play. I like some of my side deck cards like Skill Drain and Ferret, because, you know, monster effects activate in the graveyard, like Yakshan, Barong, and Ferret, so Skill Drain doesn't really hurt them. I'm quite liking Synchro Phoenix because people don't really see it coming. I know a lot of the decks that have been topping haven't really been running Synchro Phoenix, but I think it's kind of like one of those cards that's too good not to run. Blaster, and then, you know, the Flame Bell stuff. I'm actually contemplating dropping the Flame Bell stuff and like adding more bears, like maybe another bear and a Soul Charge or something. I don't know. Because it's currently at 41 and I don't really like being at 41. I'd rather have it as close to 40 as possible. But yeah, I'm undecided on Soul Charge. It's a pretty interesting card. I guess only time will tell how broken this card actually is. And no Konami, it'll be like 6 cents. This card will be around for 2 months, be absolutely broke as shit, and Konami's like, ha ha, we're banning it. Thanks for the money, suckers. But I pulled mine, so it didn't really cost me anything. Because I got it out of my entry pack tournament this weekend. So, yeah. But Vikings are definitely an interesting deck. They're definitely more my playstyle. I'm quite an aggressive player. So, yeah. Tell me what you think, guys. Vikings, nice deck. I'd like to make Fire Fist, but you know, this is like a nice little cheap option because I've got most of the parts in trade. So yeah, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, how you think it could be better. So yeah, until next time, this is NeoNexudus signing out. Peace.